Ladies and gentlemen, start those diesels. This is Keep on Truckin', a brand new podcast geared towards you, the trucking enthusiast. Keep on Truckin' is presented by Image Wash Products, specializing in hardware and chemicals designed to keep your big rigs looking like they just came off the lot. Check out Image Wash Products at washproduct.com. That's washproduct.com. If you're into trucking, if you're into diesels, if you're into hitting the open road, then this is the podcast for you. And regardless of why you're here, we're sure glad you came. So strap up that seatbelt and let's get into today's episode. I'm your host, Kirk Ross, coming at you from Grand Rapids, Michigan, reminding you to always keep on trucking. Let's start the show. Hey, what's up, folks? Before we get into the episode today, I wanted to mention that our guest today is an ambassador for Image Wash Products. And if you stick around to the midway point of the episode, we will share his ambassador code. What's that mean for you? It means that you can enter that code into your next order at washproduct.com and receive a 10% discount on that entire order. But we're going to make you work for it. So stick around to the midpoint and get that code. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in episode 2 of Keep on Trucking, and today we have an esteemed guest of ours, a follower and customer of ours. He's an ambassador of ours. His name is Will Shake. He operates Shake Trucking out of Homer, Michigan. Will, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about Shake Trucking.
My name's William Shake. I live in Homer, Michigan. I'm just a one truck, one trailer company.
Nice.
It's run by myself and my wife, Samantha Shake. She's inside right now taking care of our 7-month-old son.
Wow. Busy household.
Very, very busy household. I haul steel and steel products there, nice. Coils, bars, sheets, primarily out of the Butler, Indiana area. Okay. And I run up to Detroit every day.
So this is automotive processing material.
Yep. Mostly automotive with a few knickknacks in there.
Yeah.
I've been an owner op now just over 2 years, coming up on 2.5 years. So as far as owner op, I'm pretty new to the game. Yeah. But I enjoy every minute of it. So
how heavy are these loads that you're running up and down?
I kind of feel like a wimp on this podcast. I'm not like, I don't feel like a true Michigander. I don't pull a sled at 8-axle. I just pull a 48 102 spread. I keep it at 80,000 or under 80,000. I'm not trying to heavy haul here.
Hey, that's better for the roads. Anyway,
we use that in quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I have the option to haul heavy if I wanted to, but I just think for me and what I do and being an owner op, just myself, I don't want to necessarily haul heavy. Just easier that way.
So prior to 2 years ago, prior to when you started Shake Trucking with your wife, were you driving prior to that too for a larger company, or what was going on before?
So a quick backstory about myself, which will kind of help put everything in context, and not to toot my own horn here, but
let's hear it.
I'm a transplant. I'm not a native Michigander. I've been a full-fledged tax-paying Michigan citizen, as I call it, for about 5 years.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Alaska.
Wow.
And I'm 33 and I spent 27 years of it up there. And I know it gets better. I started trucking, believe it or not, by driving tow truck. I had no I always kind of had an idea I wanted to be a truck driver, but I started driving tow truck. And then from there, it slowly progressed. And I discovered Michigan in like 2013, 2014. I was working for a family farm, and I was traveling back and forth between Alaska and coming down to Michigan for harvest and deer hunting. And I started, hauling grain and stuff, worked for a family farm, and I just fell in love with Michigan. And, a couple, serious life events happened. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to stay in Michigan. And
Yeah.
I got a job, my first over the road job, because there's no over the road in Alaska. I worked for a small trucking company, family owned trucking company out of Parma, Michigan. And that was like my first over the road. I mean, I remember my very first load was to go out to Colorado. And I'd never really been on the interstate before. I mean, it was mind blowing, and it was an oversized company. So here I am hauling an oversized load, having to go through Chicago, and so it progressed from there.
Baptism by fire, though. That's how you learn, I suppose. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then from there, I've worked for two other small family run truck companies in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And finally, 2 years ago, I just kind of said, you know what, with the help of some really good friends of mine, they kind of made me the push because they're already in the steel industry as owner ops. Yeah. I just made the leap one day. I mean, literally, I found a truck. I scraped the money together, bought it, didn't tell my wife. And I got
perfect.
And we were also getting married that year too. It gets even better. I scraped the money together through help with family and friends. I bought a truck, didn't tell my wife, got back to my steady company driving job, and I said, hey, I've never quit a job in my life, but I'm going to be an owner op.
Yeah.
Told my wife that. She goes, you are crazy. And well, here we go. 2 years later, we're married. We bought a house. So that same week, I quit my steady income, bought a truck. Our wedding was 3 months later.
Holy smokes!
And the same week, we bought our first home, and then we had our son in August. So that's kind of my backstory. So that's kind of how.
Yeah, that's been a busy couple of years for you.
It is.
But, I mean, there has to be. First off, are you feeling like you're happy you made the leap still? I mean, obviously your life's going well, but do you think it's worth it? There's gonna be people listening and watching that might think, I want to make the leap. What is your advice to them? What would you say 2 years in?
One of my really good friends who helped me get started in this whole thing. I mean, he loaned me the money for my first 2 weeks of fuel. I mean, that's nice. How good a friend he was. He said, if you're going to bet on anything, bet on yourself. And I've been driving since, we don't have an F endorsement in Alaska, but, it's 22 years old. You can get like your class B and your health card. Yeah. So, 33, I've been driving since I was 22, and I've got experience, and I'm pretty confident in my abilities, but when you have that truck in your driveway and you realize, holy cow,
that's money sitting there. Yeah. That's every day, every time it's out on the road, it's kind of like money, you're losing money to some extent. Right.
And you got to grow up really quick. Cause there's no, hey, I'll truck today, you got to make it work. And so, I took my friend's advice to heart and, I went at her. But to answer your question, I do love it, especially being a father now and a husband. Through trucking, my wife was able to leave her steady job of many years, and she's a stay-at-home mom. She does the book, runs and gets me parts, and and I think that's great to have that. So I'm glad I did it, and being able to choose your own schedule, make your own hours, or say, hey, I have a doctor's appointment, or we want to go away for the weekend,
right?
And so that's why I did it. It has its moments where I can't believe I did this. Like, what am I doing? But for the most part, it's been positive. So yeah, it is worth it. You just got to get over that hump.
Yeah. You kind of lose the safety net of, I've experienced this myself, starting a business myself. It's like you lose the steady paycheck is nice that you can get, as long as you're going to work, you're going to get that, and you lose that, but you also do gain freedom. So while you have a fire under you to work as much as you can, it helps put things in a perspective that sometimes working money maybe isn't the most important thing. And you have the ability to stay home with your wife and kid. Do you ever take them on the road with you?
So it's so funny. I give my wife such a hard time. My wife's name and my son's name are on the passenger door. And I give my wife a hard time all the time. It's like, your name is on that truck and you've only sat in it. You've never gone for a ride.
Hey, if you're listening to this, Samantha, come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
The weather's about to break. By the way, I imagine Michigan winter seems pretty weak to you still, having grown up in Alaska.
Depending on who you talk to and in the circle of truck people we know in the state, they, I'm what you call a fair weather driver. I am so sensitive down here to bad weather. We had that ice storm. We just got pummeled down here in southern Michigan.
Yeah.
that's one thing that being owner op is nice too, because I found myself in certain situations, especially when you're a company driver, because you're faced with that. You need to make that truck money, make your boss money. And I found myself in a couple situations where it's like, I should have shut down. I should be sleeping. But, so I asked my wife, even asked the company I lease onto, I'm looking at my weather app all day. It's like, oh, it's freezing rain and ice. I'm going to leave later. I'm just going to take the day off. So,
well, when you're carrying 80,000 pounds of freight, I mean, you got to be, there's a large safety element to that too. So, I mean, I think it's always good to err on the side of caution if you can get away with it. And when you're an owner op, you can.
Yeah. And when you're 80,000 going down the highway, and I tell people too, the state speed limit in Alaska is 65, whether you're a moped or a semi truck. Down here, you can go 70 miles an hour. You got 4 lanes, and I run 94 mostly. I mean, you guys are
up crazy
up there in Zealand. It's just, so.
Wow. Well, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Yeah. Tell us about your truck.
So some of the viewers are going to see I got a nice Peterbilt tattoo. People are going to give me crap. I'm a diehard Peterbilt guy. I love it. Long nose 379, slammed to the ground, stretched. I own a 2000 Freightliner FLD 120.
hey, that's your starter truck. That's your first truck you owned, right? The 389's coming.
Someday, and I got really lucky with my friend who helped me get started. Ironically, I found the truck and I ended up buying it. And when we bought our house, I bought it from another small family truck company down here in Homer. They live at the end of my road. The shop where I went to go look at is at the end of my road. And he
nice, no travel.
Yeah, and he gets to see me drive down the road every morning in it. And for a Freightliner, I've come to love it, and I've really put a lot of work into it the last 2 years. And the joke is I try to make it look like a Peterbilt. So these older Freightliner classics and FLD 120s, they got a soft spot in my heart, especially now. I mean, the public will see it here pretty soon. I'll post more pictures of it as it becomes shiny season, but it's looking really good. I'm proud of it, and I can't wait to finally finish it up more and get it fine-tuned so I can start showing it. So I really am proud of it.
Get the rest of that 389 body kit on there, right?
Exactly. Get some belts.
How is that? So tell us a little bit about what you did. What have you been working on it? So
it all started when I hit a deer this fall, and I've never hit an animal in my life until there, and it hurts when it's your own vehicle. So I was able to just, okay, you know what? I got to get a new hood. We need to, you start taking stuff off of it. Hood mirrors, different grill lights, bumper. We shaved the cab lights on it. I have Peterbilt bullet lights on top. Real subtle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Really nice RLK visor. We got nice pipes on it, just real subtle stuff. But for an FLD, I get compliments this last week since I've had it out of the shop. People are like, that's a Freightliner,
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. And it makes the job easier when you enjoy what you drive.
And I mean, obviously, when you're an owner op, you have to be able to do all that work yourself to pinch pennies, I imagine, right? I mean, you're probably contracting some of it out where necessary, but
that's probably one of my guilty things. My wife loves doing the bills every month. I have quite a hefty tool truck bill. I've got all the tools in the world, but I mean, this is my garage. This is my office. We're working out of a 40 by 22 car garage.
Yeah.
It's so hard changing that oil when it's cold. So, she goes to a shop to get service and major things done. But brakes, tires, little stuff I'll do in the driveway. But pinching penny, especially right now, you got to balance. It's like, do I really want those chicken lights this week? Or, hey, I really need to invest that in brake shoes and drums. So it's,
And I mean, to some extent, now that your truck's kind of where you want it, that bill should go down over time. But do you pretty much count on as an owner op, do you have to count on a certain percentage of your income going to service? And what is that percentage that you're kind of accounting for?
See, for me right now, it's hard to give an exact number. I would like to put a little bit more money in the bank, obviously.
Right.
But that's the number one thing is this maintenance for me. That's the number one reason why I'm always down is downtime is maintenance. And being an older truck, it's you got to do your preventive maintenance. You got to do your pre-trip and your post-trip and stuff like that. But sometimes stuff does happen. Like I lost my turbo this fall. I was loaded going home on 69 and what are you going to do? I don't really necessarily want to call and for a record to tow me to the shop because that's really expensive. So what do? You put four ways on and you limp it to the shop. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you pay what you got to pay to get you back on the road. Because as you said, if my truck's not moving, I'm not making money.
Yeah, it's not. I would say this. It's not for everybody, and I'm not talking about just trucking. Owner operating isn't for everybody, but it does come with. It's even if you make less money, I bet you have way more fulfillment and satisfaction now than you did 2 years ago.
Because it's not going to break down. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to break down on me. Funny story. This today's Tuesday, Monday morning. I was emailing you back and forth. Saying, I got to get home.
Yeah.
To do the interview. And Monday morning, first load up there in Plymouth, Michigan. I blew an airline. Pulling into the customer loaded, and it's like, what do I do? Get on Google, try and find a service truck? No, I got out there in the middle of the road with a hooded sweatshirt on, and I got my toolbox that I carried in my bunk, and I got in the middle of the road underneath my truck, patching airline just to get me off the road, delivered, and then I could repair it. There's an aspect of self-reliancy. You have to be motivated, go get it. You got to use your head. You got to be able to do it because you can't. There's some guys that they can afford it. Hey, I'm just going to call a service guy.
Yeah. But those guys that can afford that now started out at one point where they couldn't, that's decades later.
And I guarantee as this podcast gets older and the more people you talk to, they're going to come from humble beginnings. At least the owner ops I've talked to that have been in this business for so long. It just
definitely. Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts. When I came into this industry only 2 years ago, and I don't really have a trucking background, to be honest, you probably can tell that, but I mean, one of the things I like most about the trucking industry is the people, our customers, the folks that we're dealing with day to day are always hardworking. They're generally super honest. They're direct, and they're good people. I mean, do some of them talk a little bit more than you want them to when you're just trying to make a quick call? Yeah, but that's the case in every industry, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that I can call you guys while I'm going down the road, like last year, right before your spray detailer came out. It's like, I've got I'm on well here because I wash in my driveway. I go to Creek and Beacon during when it's cold out, but I called you guys. I'm having a major water spot issue. What do I need to do? And we hashed it out over the phone. I mean, see, some people are going to be like, wow, he's worried about water spots. Well, when you like to look good and shiny, nothing worse than getting out of your truck, being a dark blue truck.
Yeah.
It's sunshine. You got water spots everywhere.
Yeah.
So I like that guy. I call you guys anytime. And just in the littlest details, just try this.
Yeah, I mean, our founder and owner, Todd, I'm not sure if you met him or maybe you probably saw the first podcast or listened to the first podcast, but, his background is in trucking and he's super high attention to detail. So a lot of the little parts and little details that some companies don't care about is kind of where we focus our energy. We're talking about keeping expensive equipment clean and running well. At the end of the day, it elongates the life of your equipment.
It does.
So, yeah.
You can see all your oil leaks.
Right. So tell us a little bit about what products are you using from Image so far.
So my go-to, I mean, it's my go-to is, your 1 and 2 truck wash and the Invisa Shield. Yeah, the touchless 1 and 2 and the Invisa Shield. And, during, I call it shiny season, I come home every night and I wash my truck. It annoys my wife and it'll be interesting with the newborn, but I wash my truck every night during the week, just the 1 and 2, and it does an immaculate job. Don't even brush it. It knocks the road. And I live on a dirt road. So it knocks off and I seal it with the Invisa Shield. And that gets me. I mean, every day it's awesome. And then Fridays are I crank up the music. I might have some adult beverages. And that's when I'll actually brush, scrub, and hand polish. Get it looking good. Fridays are like my serious wash nights. And then your detailer's grade soap. I think a lot of people that aren't really into trucking, but want to keep their car. I even wash my wife's car. With
the platinum wash. Yeah. The platinum wash. Yep.
I love that stuff because honestly, I'm such a detail nerd. I'll 1 and 2 it. And then if I really want that shine before I'm visual, I'll use the detailer's grade soap and the shine is just amazing. That's my little trick I do.
Well, first off, I'm amazed. I talk to people every day on the phone about their wash protocol. And I don't think I've met anyone that's keeping up on a daily wash plus a mitt wash every week. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering, how do I become an ambassador of Image Wash products? That's how you become an ambassador. You care so much about your stuff that you're going to keep it spotless all the time. Right?
Yep. And you guys have great brushes too. Finally, I remember the last phone call about the water spots. How are you washing it? And I had just the simple foam cannon. I didn't even have a pressure washer. I was using the garden hose foam cannon.
You're the garden hose. You're the garden hose guy that did the touchless with garden hose. There's legends of you around these parts.
They're like, I've never seen that. It works. And then that was before, I'd have my old covered wagon and it worked, And then finally they were like, if you get a pressure washer, we will get you all dialed in. I'll tell you what, the day I got that pressure washer, I was just like,
I've been wasting my time.
And then they were like, do you have brushes? And I was like, no. And then you guys sent me my care package with a trailer brush. I got my 8-inch stack brush, which is, that was amazing. No more getting on a ladder with a mitt.
That's nice.
Stone Age. And now I just feel so professional. I've got 4 different foam cannons for different soaps. I really become a nerd, but talking to you guys got me upgrading where, Friday nights for 3 or 4 hours washing, I can fully wash my truck and trailer with the leaf blower technique too. You taught me to no water spots.
Yeah.
It's under an hour. Really, and it looks show ready.
Yeah. And how long are you going on your touchless when you're doing your maintenance washes? That's gotta be 15 minutes or something or.
Yeah. It's, if that, and I, my trailer, I have a Conestoga now. So slider, truck and trailer 1 and 2, especially with not the wand cannon, but I upgraded that for you guys too. It's amazing. And I keep, I have my 1 and 2 in separate can. Yeah. It's amazing. And it's 45 minutes, if that. And that's probably with drying too with the leaf blower. It's that touchless. Yeah. If anybody has a truck and wants to keep it clean, no more bucket brushes. And the thing about it too, what I like about guys is the price point. That's what really got me. Yeah. You can get, you get that starter kit. Oh my goodness. And you're going to save yourself. A Blue Beacon wash for me is, $130, $140.
Yeah. I couldn't have written these. By the way, I did not pre-coordinate any of this. This is just coming from Will. This is coming right from his heart. Okay. This isn't a sales pitch, but you're doing a good job. If you ever want to be a salesman, let me know.
Oh, I remember when I first met Todd when I can do one shout out here. Flat Top Transport out of Holland, Michigan. Jason and Jeanette. I was blessed to be able to drive one of their beautiful Peterbilts and run tanker for them. And that's when I first found out about Image. And Jason knows how to keep a truck clean, and it was expected of us. And that was the first time I'd ever even seen a foam cannon, the 1 and 2. And that's when Todd was in his infancy. Yeah. And I always told myself, man, I got to get that, And that was the first thing I did when I was able to have the extra money. I bought soap.
Yeah. Hey, I
bought soap.
But as an owner operator though, you understand the value a little more than maybe the standard driver who may not understand the value of or the cost of corrosion to your frame and all the other things that can happen if you're not keeping up on that.
It's terrible. I hopefully someday I'll be able to have at least a pole barn I can pull into bobtail just in the wintertime, just to knock. And I run Indiana and they put calcium chloride down on the roads, and it's terrible. You have to get that off your truck. It eats your wires. If you get your truck polished like I do spring and fall, it ruins that polish. So you really gotta invest. Right now, I'll admit, I go to the Beacon. I go every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it sucks, but
yeah. Hey, there's a world out there where Image wash products and the old Truckin Beacon can both exist. But if you're spending a lot of time waiting in line at the Beacon and you're not super happy with the price or the results, give us a call at Image. Like Will did, for God's sake. Come on. We're just about at the midway point, so hopefully you're enjoying the conversation so far. Now's a great time, provided you're off the road, taking a short break, to check out Image Wash Products at washproduct.com. You get all your detailer and pro-grade chemicals so that you can step up your wash game. Thanks for checking that out. Let's get back into this conversation. Folks, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. For those of you wondering what Will's ambassador code is, so you can head over to washproduct.com and get 10% off your order. Drum roll, please. Shake Trucking. You probably could have guessed that early on, actually. Shake Trucking. SHAKE. Trucking. All one word. All caps. Enter that into your coupon code at your next cart when you're at washproduct.com and receive 10% off that order. By the way, the ambassador will receive 10% of your order as well. That's one of the perks of being an ambassador. So if you're interested in that, if you have a big social media following, if you're interested in becoming part of the Image family, check out the ambassador program on the website. let's get back into the show.
Everybody asks me too. That's what's nice about, like, while we're sitting at these steel mills waiting to load, a lot of people come up to me, and I'll have always waxing or something. And it's like, there's some of your competitors. Well, I tried this, or that's really expensive. It's like I'll show them, like, this is like no BS. Before any discount codes, you're it's the 1 and 2 Invisa Shield and a foam cannon. I want to say it's maybe, don't quote me, under $200.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a Beacon truck wash right there. Yeah, you got to do it.
And you can get a lot of washes. How many washes do you get out of that kit?
Oh, so I re-upped. I have 5-gallon buckets of it now, but that 1 and 2 lasted me all summer. I got you guys running that clear out special, so I bought 2 more gallons of it. It's sitting out behind this wall over here. I mean, it lasts all summer, and I wash every day. Yeah,
that's the thing. When you keep up on it more, you can kind of afford to run that stuff a little bit lighter too. If you were only doing that once a month, you might not be using that much less soap just because you got to use more of it. So that's another example of keeping up on it. It's always good if you're able to.
Yeah, and the Invisa Shield too. I got my buddy who's he's a company driver, but he's loves keep his pickup truck clean. I gave him those sample bottles of the Invisa Shield, and I was like, "You're using so much of that." I was like, for my semi, the little squeeze bottle, I said, use this much. He goes, well, no wonder nothing sticks to it. And I was like, used about 100 times what you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's like a frying pan. By the way, I have a call from the legal team. I've been instructed to inform everyone that Invisa Shield is now officially called wax replacement. There was a trademark issue on Invisa Shield that we resolved a couple years ago, but wax replacement. Some of you probably still have Invisa Shield in your shop. It's still the same exact stuff. It just has a new label and a new name.
So is that a collector's item now too? Because I like all your labels. I take all my labels and I stick it on my wall under my banner. I've got because there's one of those trucks that was Flat Tops Pete, the black and red one.
Oh yeah. So what's your vision kind of long term? I mean, are you happy living in the single truck owner operator land? Because I mean, scaling up is always a way to make money, but it comes with a lot of challenges too.
It's so funny. My wife and I, we always have these conversations. We're in the car going out doing errands. Like, we're both, her and I are dreamers. And she's like, now that I'm home, I can focus 100% on that. And I always tell her this, there's only one other person that I would hire and I would bankroll a truck and trailer with, but I'll never hire them because they're my best friend.
It's your wife. Is it your wife or a different friend?
I plead the fifth on that one. I like being responsible for myself, yeah. And that's enough to deal with, and then I just, the added stresses of, making sure they make money, whatever their issues are before mine, and so I'm just going to stay a sole owner op, and it's just easier that way. It's just simpler.
Unless you want your job to become 35% management of 35% of your time is managing somebody else and their feelings, which is all important stuff. We've all worked for good and poor managers, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be a manager.
Exactly. And the best, the thing is too, I like to have nice equipment and keep it nice. And it's, again, if since I can't hire that one person, can you really trust somebody to treat it, drive it, and keep, treat it like the way I do? And I just don't want to be that guy that burn a bridge, or just, I don't want to be, I work with people like that, I don't. Life's good right now. I'll stay in my garage.
Hey, I think no, I'm with you. That's kind of where my head's at in my situation too. Yeah, well, keep it rolling, man. We really appreciate your ambassadorship. Can you tell the people listening a little bit about? I don't think you've spent a ton of time actually working on ambassador stuff, but generally, what's the terms of the program? I actually don't even. I work in the business to business side. I don't really know the website stuff that much. So I'll let you teach me.
I am so bad at it, and I think if there was an ambassador award, it would probably have to go to our guy up there, up in the thumb up there,
Eric Bismack. BMac.
Shout out to BMac. I see him on 94 in the mornings, and he's probably like, who in the hell is that guy in that Freightliner yelling at me? Well, it's me, Eric. But his social media prowess is second to none, and I'm over here just selfie and trying to, and I promise everybody, my wife is going to take over the social media to do the posts and stuff.
Thank God. Yeah.
It's so bad. I apologize to editing, but
No,
Aaron,
I'm joking.
he needs to do a class to teach the rest of us. But no,
he's coming on the show. By the way, he's going to be a future guest.
Well, you talk about Michigan trucking royalty right there. You know, even though he's up there in the thumb with all those sugar beet farmers, it's okay. No, he's a good guy.
Hey, I came from Bay City, so I feel a special connection to the sugar beets.
I'm south of 94 trash. That's what I tell people.
It's different strokes.
No, but the program really, it wasn't even like anything forced. I mean, I created my own discount code, and it saves the consumer money. But really, all it is just take pictures and show people using the product that it works. And that's why I did it, because we all meet people. I'm an influencer, this and that. Yeah. It can't get you more relatable than me. I'm an owner operator. I'm a one truck guy. I'm washing my truck with a store-bought pressure washer, nothing even nice. I don't want to say the name of the big box store that's really orange, but I spent a couple $100 on a pressure washer, and the proof is in the pudding, and I'd like to show people, like, it's raining here. I'm getting fuel. I mean, my posts are so short and just real. It's like, it's pouring down rain, but look at my truck. It looks like it's dry. The dirt and stuff, nothing sticks to it.
Yeah, and it's authentic too. We're not going to be asking you to say something specific, or we don't care if all we really want is engagement. And if you like the product, tell people about it, because it works. At the end of the day, I could call someone all day long, and I do that. I do call people all day long, and the ones that I have the most success with are the ones that were told about image wash products from their friend who they trust. Because at the end of the day, there's salespeople every day calling and selling snake oil and selling a bill of goods that they're not going to hold up their end. So when you have a friend that tells you, if you trust Will, like you should, it's like, this is really how we want to grow this thing. It's organic. It's not going to be some gimmicky thing. It's going to be a real customer base that believes in the product. That's what we want.
And like I said, I found out about you guys before it was even really called Image.
Yeah, Reflections back then, probably.
Reflection. Yeah. I mean, it was just these barrels in Jason's shop. I mean, he's like 1 and 2, and then the Invisa Shield. I mean, it's just, and I'd never seen anything like that. And in all the magazines and catalogs you get competitors. Heck, the guy that I buy my drums of oil from gave me some sample soap. Yeah. Okay. First thing I asked him, and this was really important to me, is it polish safe? Oh yeah. Not to bash on my oil guy. He's a great guy. Oh yeah. I diluted that to, it was mostly water, but it immediately just corroded my tanks. Just
white, chalky right away.
Immediate. And again, I'm using well water, and I knew it wasn't the water, so I had to repolish it. So, and that was the one upselling too, is it's polish safe. I mean, you can, from your cleaner to the bug remover, you name it. It's
Yeah. Hey, by the way, when it's time to upgrade that wash bay a little bit, when you get that pole barn, we got to hook you up on our pro grade versions of this stuff too. Because honestly, the pro grade is will be a lot cheaper for you, and it still is polish safe. So
I dream of that. So I was like, I just want to wash her. I don't even want a bay to work on. I just want to wash her. And she just rolls her eyes. Okay, honey. Okay, yeah, okay. She wants a new kitchen and an upgraded bathroom.
Listen, Will, you're gonna have to give me Samantha's number so I can maybe just call her directly on this. It sounds like she's controlling the purse strings.
I'll tell you what, she's inside right now to take care of her 7-month-old. She is the reason why, not really a shout out, but the fastest way to lose your hind end in this industry is to get behind on bills and taxes, and you have to manage your money. Yeah. I remember I got that first paycheck. Even though you're 1099, you get that paycheck. You're like, oh, wow. But she goes, hey, I love you, but you got tax, you got a percentage for taxes. And I remember the day my clutch went out. That was $4,000, and I was stressed. And she goes, we have the money, and I was like, what?
Yeah, she's saving some. Yeah.
But you gotta be responsible. So even though we kind of butt heads sometimes when I buy lots of parts and stuff. The reason why Shake Trucking is here and will continue to be here is because I got an excellent wife, but I even got a better business partner. She's real. she's really, and her background's in finance, so that helps too. So it saves me on a bill.
I mean, that's a really good point that you make there too. It's like, imagine if you didn't have her and you were trying to not only drive 5 or 6 days a week, but you're also trying to do the books. You could see why people fail at that or why they fall behind. It's hard. It's a double job then. And so you have someone you can rely on. That's nice.
Financial responsibility, people. If anything you take away besides the wonderful products Image has, again, not a spokesman, but financial, be smart financially, because I don't know, steel could fall off the face of the earth tomorrow, and I wouldn't have, you got to have that nest egg, because then once you have the nest egg, they can call you guys and buy soap.
Hey, I mean, there's some kind of implication there that our stuff is expensive, so I'm going to bypass that whole point. But let's go for this point. More important than financial stability, and this goes for anyone, even outside the trucking game. More important than financial responsibility is just buying stuff from Image. That's what I heard.
That I have to say, if you're gonna buy anything to make your truck look good, I know we all want drop visors and 8-inch pipes. I mean, honestly, what's the first thing you do when you buy a new car? First thing I did when I bought that truck, took it over to my buddy's shop. We washed it. Yeah. And I won't tell you what we use, but you wash it, and wow,
Yeah, it looks different. Yeah. Dude, this has been a super fun conversation. Are you excited? Congratulations on your first child.
Thank you.
Have you noticed I guess right now, is it a boy or a girl? What's the situation here?
It's a boy. He's 7 months old and he's almost 30 pounds.
Well, he's taken after his dad. You're 6'8". So
yep.
So wait a minute though. Right now he's probably crying a lot, so you probably have no problem taking all the runs you can. But is there going to be a time where you're going to back off on the trips you're making so you can hang out with the little guy more? You think that's coming, or how's that all going to look?
I'm very fortunate too. There's going to be a lot of owner-ops in here just shaking their head. With the exception of last night, I slept out a total of 4 times last year.
Nice.
I'm home every night. I run usually about under 500 miles a day. I start super early when you're all sleeping. And I'm home mid-afternoon, and you nice. Really you can't put a price on that. But weather, or like I said, talked to you yesterday, shipping delays, I sleep out to make it easier. So and that's another reason why I love being owner-op. I pick my schedule, but I'm home every night right now. When he gets older, I would like to. I like running out west in the summer, run south of Texas and stuff. That would be nice to do more. But for right now, I'm content with what I'm doing.
That's cool. I mean, you have a very reliable, steady schedule. That's not something a lot of truck drivers can say.
No, not at all. I mean, a lot of my owner-op friends, they're gone right now. They're East Coast, down south, whatever. It's like, I run to Detroit and do another load.
I mean, you can see how you can see how some people would struggle with prioritization when they start seeing how much money can roll in if they're driving more and more as an owner-op. But it's important to keep your family values and whatever else that you hold dear. You got to keep all that stuff in check. It sounds like you're doing a really nice job of that.
Family is everything. I mean, really, you talk about a motivating factor is, having a wife and a mortgage payment, that's one thing. But that first day I went back to work after we brought him home from the hospital, I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't get home fast enough. And I'll never forget, my wife comes walking out of the front door, tears in her eyes, holding her. She's just like, I just missed you so much. And we had a little moment. It was special just because it's like, it keeps you humble, and it keeps you really focused.
Definitely. Yeah. Now you're not only supporting your wife and your mortgage, but now you've got the little guy to take care of too. Like, this puts a little bit more pressure on you, but if you got everything aligned and you're handling it, you're going to be good. This is how you make a good business. And you're going to be in this thing for the long haul now.
Exactly. And that's the plan. And like I said, I tell people I'm always going to drive truck. I can't go work in an office. I can't answer the phones. I mean, I like driving truck, and I'll drive as long as I'm physically able to. I mean, that's just once you do it, you're in it,
Yeah. Well, hey, give me that forearm one more time. That Peterbilt. So there's a raging debate within the trucking community of, is it a Kenworth or is it a Peterbilt? What's your flavor? What's your choice? At Image, we're not going to sit here and say that we're 100% Peterbilt because we want to support any truck. But our owner, Todd, is absolutely a Peterbilt guy. You're a Peterbilt guy. I want to start a little bit of some trash talk here, okay? So I want you to give 2 good reasons why Peterbilts are better than Kenworth. And don't be afraid to, trash the Kenworth a little bit, even though we all know that Kenworths are also nice. But remember, I'm going to get a Kenworth guy in here someday, and he's going to be talking smack about Peterbilt. So
BMAC. Yeah, you need to get BMAC on here. He'll straighten out. I know Todd's got that nice cab over here. I've seen up St. Ignace. Maybe I just need that in my driveway. That'll be my wash bay. I'll call Todd.
You should have bought it.
Right?
Yeah. We just sold it. Honestly, we sold it.
Oh,
I hate to break the news to the podcast community, but the Peterbilt cab over is no longer with us. But hey, we loved it while we had her.
I love watching that. When that was being built, that's when I was driving for Jason up there in Holland. And I remember going over there to the shop watching it being built, and I was just like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard. Right now I'm leaning more towards a W9. I hate to say it, a Kenworth, just because I'll tell you one thing, and there won't be a Peterbilt fan that can back me up on this. Sleeper. Kenworth, even though it's all pack car, Kenworth being 6'8", they have some of the nicest sleepers. You step down in it. Now, the truck I was able to drive for Jason, it has stand up, and I loved being able to put my pants on and get dressed.
Yeah.
But I think visually, a 379, like I said, slam to the ground, nice visor, minimal chicken lights. It looks good, comfortable. But if it were me right now, which I'm looking at upgrading here, I've been looking at a lot of W9s because I want to be.
This is the worst pro Peterbilt smack talk I've ever heard. The first pro Peterbilt smack talk actually resulted in you buying a Kenworth. I'm beside myself here.
I know, but I'm a loyal Peterbilt guy. I mean, the green in my tattoo. My first truck I ever drove was it was a 379X. That's why I got the green in it. It was a John Deere candy apple green back home, and I love that truck. It was special. They do look good though. Like I said, you see a lot more of them, and they do look good. But man, I just need if they could somehow give you that bigger bunk, that aero cab sleeper, I'd be converted.
Okay. But, hey, what I learned from this whole thing is, even though the people that really love all these, let's face it, all these trucks are nice pieces of equipment. You know, I've heard people talking smack about Volvos, and I get in a Volvo, and I'm like, seems like a pretty nice piece of equipment. I bet you the motor's good on it. I don't know. You know, no. What do you? Let's talk trash about Volvo then.
You know,
I want to get some dirt here.
Some dirt here. Well, I think again, see now this you're talking to an owner op here. You know, it's really different when it's like if you know, I drive my Freightliner's a flat top. I mean it's close quarters, it's a little coffin bunk. But as owner op, if I had to run over the road and I had to live in it, you know, and weight really wasn't an issue, you know, I'd have the nicest loaded sleeper I could. I really want, you know, a mini fridge. Storage is a big thing. I like to hang my shirts up. I like being organized. I mean, I everything stays in my road bag on my bunk right now. Going to some of the truck shows and stuff, you look at some of them Volvos, amenity wise, yes. I mean, they're amazing. They're great. Do they have that soul and flavor as, you know, I mean, even my truck's 23 years old. It looks better than that any day. Amenity wise, it's far superior to that. But, you know,
it's just like the aesthetics. Yeah.
And we're not going to go into the motors. We get lost on that for hours. You know, I like the older. I like the older stuff. I like not having to have a laptop per se.
To fix.
You know, but you know, it's all this end the debate. Just give me a pack car any day. Give me like a 99 and older pack car. How about that? I love them both.
They're okay. Hey, if anyone's looking to be a benefactor to Will and you want to purchase him one of these, go for it. Either one will do.
Right.
Just make sure you use his ambassador code, which of course we shared at the beginning of the episode, the middle of the episode, and now you're about to hear it again. Will, this has been super fun. Do you have anything else that we should cover?
I think no, I appreciate it. I know I run on and on. We can talk for hours about this, but I think it's great what you guys are doing here. I think it's great that you reached out to an owner op. You know, it'd be good, you know, get some company guys. And I like how you and Todd, the very first podcast, talked about different aspects of trucking and stuff. There was one thing though I liked about it. He asked him a driver story, and I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna be on the podcast. I have to share. And I thought about all the things that I've experienced and been with. Yeah. And it's like, okay, one driver story. You know, I didn't lock my keys, but this is one thing that I think it'd be to wrap up every show with. You got to do a driver story because we all got them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was working for this small company down here in Michigan, my first trucking job. And my first load, we were going from Holly, Michigan out to Aurora, Colorado. And we're oversized. 15 foot wide, and it's a stretch flatbed. I want to say it was maybe 68 feet long, the trailer, my truck. And the way we were permitted route and stuff, we had to go through Chicago. I'm sitting here like, oh my goodness, I just went through Michigan. I'm in Indiana. Oh my, we're going through Gary. And we got off on our detour to go around Chicago. And anybody who knows Chicago, 294 there, you got that gravel pit, the village of Thornton. So I am so stressed out. I have escorts with me, and we're going through these narrow streets, trying not to hit things, right? And I'm just sweating profusely. I'm just shaking, but I get it done. It's like, oh my goodness. I get through the route, and all we had to do on the permit was get on I-80 West. And I'm just so focused on that. We get to the intersection. There's a big old sign, right-hand lane, I-80 West. No, I drive straight through the sign, and my escorts are like, what are you doing? I was so nervous, and I still didn't even know how to read a perfect road sign. But that's the joke. Last time I missed I-80. And you can't miss it. I mean,
it's one of the longest roads in the world, I think.
The biggest sign in the world. And I'm just like, Luckily, we found a Lowe's parking lot right next to the interstate. I spun around it, no violation, and got back on there. But that's my truck driving story. I missed I-80.
I bet similar to Todd's key story, I bet you never made that mistake again.
Never. And the takeaway from that, because life and trucking, it's all about learning from your mistakes. I learned to read my permit whenever I had a permit, or even like some steel mills I've never been to. Yeah. I get out my road atlas or my Google Earth, and I look at how to get there, and I write it down. So,
yeah. Hey, I like that. I'm glad that it didn't result in any sort of tragedy either, because you had me scared there for a while.
I was so so embarrassed, but it worked out in my favor. But I missed I-80.
Missed I-80. That's hilarious. We definitely have to do a trucker story. That's how we're going to round out every show. This is still a work in progress, so thanks for keeping me on track there. So we got a trucker story, and now the most important part is you, Will, the guest. Yeah. You have to tell everyone out there what to keep on doing.
Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking, baby. Thanks, Will.
Take care. Good night.